Hey everyone, Dr. Alex here, the Cycling Doc. Today's video for you, if you have outer knee pain with riding your bike or you want to prevent it, most cases it's going to be the IT band that is the issue. Obviously you got to see your local spine and or cycling expert to diagnose it, but in most cases it's going to be a result of the IT band. And what you're not going to do is you're not going to foam roll that IT band. You're not really going to stretch the quadriceps or the hamstrings. We're actually going to go over the 3 stretches that you should be doing to make sure that it doesn't progress, to make sure that it doesn't get worse, and we'll talk about some of the science of why that is. Before we get into it, if you guys could like and subscribe, share this with other cycling friends, that would be lovely. Now let's do it. So the 3 stretches that we want to do to target the muscles that insert into the IT band are going to have the most impact on them are going to be the gluteus maximus and the TFL, or the tensor fascia lata, and we're also going to stretch the gluteus medius and minimus just to be safe. Okay, so the first stretch we're going to do is stretching the gluteus maximus. This is where we're going to be lying on our spines and we're going to bring our knee to our chest. And what I usually tell patients for this stretch is make sure you pull and hold it until that stretch in the buttock starts to dissipate. And what you'll notice, it might take 5 seconds, it might take 2 minutes, but when that stretch starts to dissipate, you're gonna pull it over to the opposite shoulder. So the reason we're doing this stretch, the reason we're stretching the gluteus maximus is that the gluteus maximus forms about 90 or 80% of the fibers that become the iliotibial band. So with this stretch, we're stretching that gluteus maximus and getting it to relax as much as we can or get it to soften. Most outer knee pain is going to be from that IT band or that iliotibial band compressing against the outside of the knee, either against a fat pad or some nerve tissue, or maybe against the actual bony tissue on the tibia itself. So with this stretch, by releasing or getting that gluteus maximus to relax, it's going to help to decompress that iliotibial band off of the side of the leg. Now, the tensor fascia lata, or that muscle that's on the front of the hip and a little bit to the outside, if you were to put your hand into your pocket just at the top, at the entry to the pocket, that's where that muscle is. So there's a couple ways to stretch this muscle. We're gonna go over the second one in a second, but first it's this lunge type stretch where we're gonna work on stretching a few of the hip flexors, psoas, rectus femoris, but by pushing the hip a little bit to the outside and bringing the arm over, that's going to get some of those TFL, or tensor fascia lata fibers that become the iliotibial band. So this muscle contributes less to the iliotibial band. It's a smaller muscle. It's a little bit less important for this issue than the gluteus maximus, but we gotta stretch it. And so this is a good hip flexor stretch for all 3 of those hip flexors, the iliopsoas, the rectus femoris, but by bringing that hip a little bit more to the outside and the arm over, you will get that TFL. Last but not least, we're going to stretch the gluteus minimus and medius. In my experience, this does help with iliotibial band issues, even though these muscles do not directly insert into the IT band. They do prevent adduction or collapsing in of the knee, so that might be a reason why they help with iliotibial band issues, especially in runners, but with cyclists, let's make sure that we don't miss this good stretch. With this side stretch, you're gonna really pretend like you're standing between a narrow 2 buildings in a narrow alleyway, and the only way the hip can go is straight out to the sides. You can stretch the TFL, or that tensor fascia lata muscle, by pushing the hip a little bit more forward. If you imagine your body being on a clock and 12 o'clock is straight, and if you go off to the right, that would be 3 o'clock. If you go a little bit forward to 2 or 2:30, that will get the TFL. So those are the 3 stretches that I would do if the outside of my knee is feeling tight, or if I'm getting some pain on the bike and the outside of the knee, most times it's going to be from the iliotibial band, and most times it's going to be from that band, that thick connective tissue compressing against the side of the leg. You're not going to stretch the quads or the hamstring as a priority because the anatomy and the biomechanics don't tell us to. They tell us to make sure that we focus on the tissues that actually insert into the iliotibial band, that become the IT band, that actually cause that compression when they are tight. If these stretches do not make a difference, that's where you're probably going to go want to see your local manual therapist, cycling professional, spine expert, whoever it may be, and you're probably going to also want to make sure you get a bike fit. If it's not a problem with your body, if you do all the stretching, if these stretches feel good, then it's probably definitely a bike fit issue. Like everything, guys, I hope that was helpful. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. And until next time, make sure you add these stretches to your routine. It'll keep you healthy, safe on the bike. And if you're having some every knee pain, it should hopefully nip it in the bud. Take care, ride safe.